Hello, YouTubers. This is Joe Bravo and Mo Bravo's Knife Reviews. Today I have a splendid amount of knives to showcase for you. I really wanted to put out my collection. I have really been into studded knives lately, and I buy a lot of knives that are similar because I really want to pick and choose which ones fit me best. There's really no way to know. You spend a lot of money on a knife on the secondary. It's custom. There's no other knife like it. You love it. You get it in your hand, and it just doesn't work. And it's very difficult for me to come to that rationalization that I'm going to spend over $2,000 on a knife that I very well might not like. So laying out a whole bunch really makes me feel better so that I can know which knife is really going to be part of my forever collection and which one will be one that I'll pass along. I am going to go to the first knife that I know many of the people on the channel have seen before and have probably had a chance to manipulate. It is a CRK Inkosi. This is the small variety. It has micarta inlays on both sides. It's nice on the Inkosi because the pocket clip does not touch the lock bar, makes it a little bit easier to deploy. But this guy resides on phosphor bronze washers, and it does take a little bit to be able to manipulate this thing properly. Um, is it my favorite method of deployment? Probably not. I'm not a big fan of washers. Yes, it flicks open very nicely. It does not close how I am accustomed to. And as much as I can now front flip it and spidey flick it, it's probably not going to be the thing that stays in my forever collection, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It is a small knife. It's a great fifth pocket knife. We'll get the ruler out and we will see the total overall length on this guy. And I know you can't see it, so just believe me when I tell you. This is just under 6.5 inches with a 2 3/4 inch cutting edge and almost 3 inches on the blade. And we put it on the scale. It is coming in at 2.7 ounces. So really nice, small footprint, great pocket, great fifth carry pocket. It's a user. If you need a knife that you could trust, that's a small footprint at a low cost. I know it's funny. We used to think that $375 on a knife, or this one at least is $450 new, is a expensive knife, but with what's on the table, it certainly isn't considered expensive anymore. So we're going to put that one on the side, and we're going to go to my next studded knife. It is a Maverick Concept 3-inch unnamed integral. This uses the 15-layer blade. I can't remember the process, but it's a special Tang Fu process where it layers the different blade steels over the top of each other. Speed holes. It's got anodization on the pocket clip. This nice rock style inside the lock bar. Really nice action. Very nice flicking ability. Nice drop shut close. I have it a little tight because this actually nicked me and I started to bleed one time because it was so drop shut that I missed the race and I lost. So this is really nice in the pocket. It's very light. It's even lighter with the speed holes. It comes in at 2.8 ounces, so it's a little bit bigger with the same weight as that small Inkosi. We'll get the ruler out and we'll bring it up to the tip. And we got just over 6 3/4 with a cutting edge of 3 inches and an overall nice footprint. This knife has been spoken for. My buddy Lake is going to pick it up, but I actually just purchased one just like it. So I do feel like the 3-inch unnamed integral really belongs in my collection. Maverick Concept and Nick Marshall is one of my favorite makers at the moment. And it's great that I'm going to have maybe not this one, but another one in my collection. And we'll see if that guy stays around for long term. I'm going to keep this guy on the board because I would like to compare him to my first Karrol. This is a Karrol pick. And what's cool about this one, I know you guys seen the videos, you can front flip it and you could stud flick it. And it's really nice as this guy is on bearings. I know a lot of Karrol's knives are not on bearings, they're on washers. And as you can see, washers aren't my favorite uh, pivot method of deployment. This guy is really snappy, half a shake shut, really nice, and just not sold on it. And I'm not sold on it because I have this beautiful Asuka, and it's really hard for me to keep two knives that do the same thing well. This thing, it just flies open. It has, I'd say, a little bit better or a more traditional style flipper tab that I'm used to, whereas you could do that Zippo roll on it, whereas the Karrol has more of like that TBC Atlas style front post, where if I was to roll it, my thumb really doesn't like it, gets caught in that jimping, so you got to be a little bit lower. Which is fine. You know, my Antons are like that. You get used to it, and it's fine. It's just currently, I don't know if I want to have two knives of the same opening method eating up my funds to go and get something new. But, you know, disappointing because this knife is really comfortable. Really comfortable. This swell, this spoon, really allows you to get a whole bunch of leverage in the event you had to cut something. And this hollow ground is really thin. But you know, that's why you try new knives, and hopefully that's why you guys check into the channel. Something that doesn't work for me might work for you guys a little bit better. And this guy is just about 7 inches, and that's why I wanted to put these two together, because I do think they're a very similar footprint. And we said, well, this was 6 3/4. Yeah, well, yeah, around 6 3/4. So I think if I had to pick the two, I would pick the Maverick Concept at the moment, only because I think the action is a little snappier. Um, and as a stud only knife, I think it delivers. I think I would prefer another Karrol similar in this size and this footprint, with just a flipper, a stud, and not the front flipper. So maybe that's on me. I think I would keep a Karrol. I think it's got a great action. I just don't think that this top front flip is my cup of tea. But, and again, that's why we try them. That's why we throw them out here. That's why I don't have a lot of 3-inch knives in my collection, because now we get to the heavy hitters. So I got a CMF Omega. I've got my Jonas Iglesias Bowie. I've got my Maverick Concepts Asuka, and I have my Jonas Iglesias Ion. I know I put the N in there all the time, but it's Jonas Iglesias with no N. And I'm going to tell you, I thought I liked the Bowie better, but this Ion is so smooth. I really like the blade profile and the cutting edge on it. I think it's a little bit more useful than the Bowie. There's no doubt about it. That Bowie is the looker between the two. That Tonto grind is spectacular. Let's see if you could see those grid lines and the differences in the compound grinds up top. Just really nice. Really, really well done. The custom pivot and the drop shut ability on this thing, it's so fun to play with. But you know, the thing that I don't care for it as much as I like the Ion, where it resides in the palm, it's just a little thick. And I deploy this son of a bitch like a bat out of hell, and just sits in that freaking groove right here so well. And if I got to do a little half shake to get it to close, you know, I thought I was going to like the Bowie because of that drop shut ability, but I think I'm really leaning towards the Ion, and I think the Bowie's going to head to my buddy that let me check it out for a little while, and I'm going to go put it back into his collection. That Bowie is 3.8 ounces, really, really light as far as a liner lock is concerned, especially with Zerk oil slick on the clip and Zerk on the backspacer. But, you know, I just don't think he's going to make the cut today. So now we're down to 3. And it really bothers me because all 3 of these knives are a little similar, and they do a little bit of different things that are, you know, really, really great and just a little different. The Omega coming in at 3.6 ounces. The Ion comes in at an even lighter 3.2 ounces. And the Asuka is a fat bitch, because she comes in at 4.2 ounces. So this guy is a little heavier than the other two, but having the ability to front flick this thing as well as it does and stud deploy it on the Spidey flick really makes this one of my top performers. The Omega is, I think, the prettiest of the three. I know it's, a poor to taste, but the abalone pivot is just stunning. The little mini flipper on the side is nice. The D10 is great. The orange peel makes it so that if you were to carry it and use it, really stays true to its Omega EDC notation. You could every day carry this thing and not have any qualms about it. This hollow edge is hollow as fuck and really, really sharp. Uh, the pocket clip isn't my favorite. But yeah, other than that, I think it's a really, really quality knife that there's really not a lot that you can talk shit on. If I had to pick and choose between the three, I still think the Asuka is one of my favorites. I think if I had to nitpick, I do wish this stud was a little bit further out to the left because when you Spidey flick it, you are right up against the lock bar. Whereas some of the things that are nice about the Omega is it does give your finger a little bit more clearance against the lock bar, and it does give you a little bit more clearance on the ion. But if I had to pick which one is going to be in my collection for the next couple of weeks, months, I'd say the Asuka has certainly been here the longest, probably been in my collection for at least 3-4 months. The Ion, I think, is going to stay as well. The Omega, even though it is the prettiest, I could probably see myself moving on from, only to replace it with another CMF. But it's tough, man. This is beautiful in every way, shape, and form. It's got a great action, and every time I say I want to move it, I change my mind. But I think it stems because the width of the handle is a little slender for me. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to drop it, but then I deploy it and manipulate it for a while. And I think it's kind of because if you had 4 or 5 slim knives, slim handle knives, you wouldn't notice it. But the way the handles of the Asuka fit my hand, and the way that the handles fit the Ion, they fit my hand. It really, every time I manipulate these guys and have them in my pocket and take them out, this just feels like it just doesn't hit the right spots in the hand when it's in there. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Omega is, in the collection right now, but I don't know if it's going to be there over the next 6 months like I do think these two guys are. Now, if I had to pick a favorite between these two, I'd probably say the Asuka at this point, only because it's got the front flip that I really enjoy, and because it's got a really nice action on the spider flicking. If I had to compare the two on spider flicking, I would say the Ion would be the winner of that. It just flies, and it's hard to say this without really showing it. This blade is here in this thing. And when it deploys, it is so cool. You got to keep your palm out of the way or else you're going to get cut by the backside of the blade. And it's just so forceful that a blade this long hides itself in a scale that's this low in profile. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Ion is going to be one of the knives that stays in my collection for a while. I thought it was going to be the Bowie. I even came out and said that the Bowie was better, and it might have a little bit nicer of a drop shut action, which everybody knows I prefer a little bit. But I think the comfort level of the Ion is really what takes the cake for me. That and that blade profile. I feel like this, I know it's got a little bit of recurve in there, but if I was to hit that on the Spyderco Sharp Maker, I shouldn't have any issues getting that nice and sharp. Whereas, with the Bowie, you got a Tonto blade to worry about, and nobody wants to round off the tip. I know Jonas has no problem, providing sharpening services or doing a re-rub, but you want to be able to take care of your own knives. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative in my opinions. My opinions are just that. If you like one of the knives on my channel more than I do, let me know. Don't piss and moan too hard, but you know, uh, I hope everybody's enjoying the channel. Everybody's enjoying the content, and yeah, if you have anything that you like to see, let me know. That if I'm not already putting out. But it's really funny. I think the 7.25 to 7.5 footprint is really where my knife overall length likes to be. I know the ion is teetering over 7.5, but I think that's okay still because of this taper here. This taper makes it a lot shorter inside the palm than say the Bowie. That instead of having that rounded off edge, it is flat almost. So if you look at it from point, it is 8, but it's every bit of 8 the way that that's rounded off. So, well, I know I took a lot of your time, 15 minutes, but I hope everybody enjoyed my opinions on my studded knives, what's going to stay, what's going to leave. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram at Watson and the Shark. Make sure that you're following all of the IG groups. I'm going to call out Brad at Knives on the Secondary. Does a great job making sure everybody's knives are moving on Instagram. And if you have any questions, let me know. Appreciate it. Peace.